Staying with that session, the Ministry of National Defense vows to take a more aggressive role than previously planned if a conflict breaks out on the peninsula. In contrast to the previous administration's measures, the military will go on the offensive and destroy key North Korean facilities. Kim Hyun-bin introduces to us the new concept and structure to take shape.
A ministry report to President Moon Jae-in on Monday, which looked at reform and the future role of the military, focused on establishing a wartime concept where the military will take a more aggressive role. The concept reflects Seoul's aim to be able to better seize the initiative in the early stages of a conflict in case deterrence fails.
Our military will establish a new concept of how to fight, a new concept of operation, and will restructure our unit, force, and command structure, among others, to better adapt to the new concept.
South Korea's Defense Minister Song Yong-moo has stressed that the military will take more of an offensive stance by destroying key North Korean facilities at the outbreak of war, in contrast to the previous administration's stance, which focused on maintaining a defensive posture until reinforcements arrived from the U.S. mainland.
North Korea's nuclear and missile threats is the most serious threat, so we plan to speed up development of our three-layered defense system, includes kill chain, KAMD, and KMPR.
The three-layer defense aims to preemptively strike and destroy key North Korean facilities when a threat is deemed imminent. President Moon made clear that there shouldn't be any war, but he emphasized that deterrence is based on a strong defense. He also pointed out that Seoul will lead all security issues regarding the Korean Peninsula. One of President Moon's campaign pledges is for Seoul to regain wartime operations control from Washington at an earlier date. Seoul handed over OPCON to the U.S. shortly after the start of the Korean War in 1950. And if war breaks out on the peninsula, the commander of the U.S. forces in Korea will take a leading role.
The commanding general of U.S. Army Space and Missile Defense Command and Army Forces Strategic Command, Lieutenant General James Dickinson, visited the THAAD, or Terminal High Altitude Area Defense System, on Guam as part of his battlefield circulation in the Pacific. The THAAD is a land-based, globally and rapidly deployable ballistic missile defense system with the capability to intercept and destroy ballistic missiles during their final or terminal phase of flight.
I'll tell you, I've got great confidence in the weapon system. I've got great confidence in the soldiers who operate that weapon system. The weapon system itself has gone 15 for 15 in all the missile defense tests that it has executed over the last 12 to 15 years. And it has defeated everything from a short-range ballistic missile to an intermediate-range ballistic missile.
Approximately 250 personnel make up Task Force Talon, a team consisting of deployed soldiers coming from Hawaii and Fort Bliss, Texas, as well as other U.S. Army Pacific units, all working together as one cohesive team to protect Guam day and night.
I'd just like to add that I'm very proud of the soldiers that are here performing this mission 24/7, 365, not only in the defense of Guam, but all the air and missile defenders we have around the world doing the same type of mission.
The Department of Defense first deployed the THAAD system to Guam in April 2013 to strengthen the U.S. regional defense posture. Staff Sergeant Mariko Frazee, Anderson Air Force Base, Guam.
Japan's self-defense forces held their annual live-fire exercise on Sunday in Shizuoka Prefecture, central Japan. According to NHK, around 2,500 soldiers took part in the drill, which also involved 20 aircraft, including F-2 fighter jets, artillery, and 80 vehicles. And for the first time, Tokyo unveiled its assault amphibious vehicles designed for assaults on shorelines and the transportation of both naval infantry and cargo. The drill was carried out under the scenario of the combined forces retaking a remote island captured by an enemy.
The latest projectiles North Korea launched are likely short-range missiles. That's according to Seoul's defense ministry. It's a change from the early assessment, which was in line with that of Washington. Kwon Jang-won starts us off with a correction that's raising a few eyebrows.
An official at South Korea's defense ministry revealed on Monday details of an interim report regarding North Korea's latest missile launch. After reviewing the data in conjunction with Washington, Seoul now believes the three projectiles that were fired on Saturday were most likely short-range ballistic missiles. This concurs with initial assessments made by the U.S. Pacific Command on Saturday, which said the three missiles were SRBMs. However, the Defense Ministry's assessment contradicts an announcement by the top office, who said the missiles were thought to be 300mm artillery rockets. When asked why the Blue House had come to this contrary conclusion, The Defense Ministry officials said that the early data, such as speed and height of the missiles, had pointed towards artillery rockets rather than ballistic missiles. Experts say the confusion can be understandable, but there are concerns towards how Seoul handled the matter, especially when it made an announcement that contradicted what its military partner, the US, was saying.
It was assessed to be an artillery rocket because the height only reached 50 kilometers, but I think that was a mistake. North Korea have short-range ballistic missiles such as the KN-02, which has a very low trajectory. The top office should have taken this into account, but it was too quick to announce the conclusion.
The Defense Ministry also stated that it believes the launches were in protest to the joint South Korea-US military drills that are currently taking place. But there are also suggestions that the launches were rather aimed at undermining the US missile defense system THAAD, which has been deployed in South Korea.
It's more difficult to catch a fast, low-flying ball than a ball tossed high up in the air, and the same applies for the anti-missile system. The THAAD system wouldn't be much use if a missile flew in at a low altitude.
The South Korean military has revealed that the missiles fired by North Korea on Saturday flew for about 250 kilometers with an altitude of 50 kilometers. That means they were longer range than the regime's conventional multi-rocket launchers, but flew lower than its ballistic missiles. Based on this, watchers say they could be new missiles aimed at getting past the defenses of the THAAD system that's expected to be temporarily deployed soon. Kim Hyo-sun starts us off.
The missiles fired by North Korea on Saturday in response to the joint military exercises between Seoul and Washington flew about 250 kilometers before landing in the East Sea. The South Korean military said the missiles hit a maximum altitude of 50 kilometers. While these missiles had a maximum altitude similar to that of a 300mm multi-rocket launcher, they traveled about 50 kilometers further than a conventional 300mm multi-rocket launcher. Based on its analysis, the South Korean military said Pyongyang was likely testing a new type of 300mm rocket. Seoul's analysis comes while the U.S. Pacific Command assessed that the North fired short-range ballistic missiles. While it's unprecedented for the Allies to have differing views on the type of missiles launched by the regime, pundits agree they were aimed at undermining South Korea's THAAD missile defense system, as it would struggle to cope with missiles flying at low altitudes.
You're not helping us out. Right, 3 degrees.